Now we're going to look at a different kind of tangent. Earlier, we had looked at making a curve tangent to a straight line, and how to round over a corner, for example, with a specified radius, and to make that rounding over tangent to the straight lines. This is what we're going to look at now, is a circle tangent to another circle, arc to arc tangents. And that can be used to make both spirals and S-curves. Now what you see here right now is you see a circle in layout lines and a horizontal and vertical line that mark the center of that circle. So this circle has this center line and that center line. And those two things are important. Here's the rule for circle to circle, arc to arc tangents, that the tangent point between two arcs lies on a straight line that connects the center points of those two arcs. So, for example, if I wanted to take this arc and have it come over here and then make an S curve and have it be a perfectly smooth transition, this center line here, and it can be this horizontal center line, although it could be any direction just as long as it's a center line, this center line here actually has to be the center line of the adjoining circle that makes this a tangent arc to arc. So, for example, if I'm making this arc here tangent to that as an S-curve, the center point of this arc, which would go from this mark to this mark, this mark to this mark, because I'm using a circle template, the center point of that arc would fall along that center line because the two arcs share the same center line. So to make a perfectly smooth transition, I would draw that arc, and then this arc. So we have a nice smooth transition there. If I was going to draw a spiral, let's say I want this to end in a little spiral here, I would create another center line that connects the center line of this arc to the center line of the arc that completes the spiral. So what we would have here is a smooth transition like so, because the center of this circle falls along that center line. So it's tangent arcs share center lines. That's the rule. Tangent arcs share center lines. Let's do it again. Let's put a big circle down here. And we'll use the skimming line method to find the center of that circle, because that method is pretty good. And let's say I want another arc to be tangent to this to make a pretty little S-curve. And I want it to be off in this direction. Well, let's see. Let's have a center line there. And let's put an arc along that center line. Remember, each one of these things on the circle template has 1, 2, 3, 4 marks. That those, if you connect this mark to that mark and this mark to that mark, they cross at the center line. So you know that those marks are right along the center line of that arc. So I could create this pretty little S-curve by getting that all lined up and making sure the pencil touches at the right spot. And there is the S-curve. And let's see, what size was it? I forgot. There is the other S-curve, the other part of the S-curve. a smooth transition, because that's where the tangent is. That's where the tangent is. That's where the tangent is. Now this will come in really handy. So for example, you're sketching a staircase, a curved staircase that has several radii because you want it to flare out as it comes down, get bigger. Well, using what you know about how to find the center of an arc and then how to make arcs tangent to each other, you could probably lay this thing out by putting a piece of tracing paper over here and finding the parts that find the center of that arc, and then finding the center of this arc from here to here, and then when it turns into this little arc from here to here, you can find its center. So what you have is the ability to make those tangent points and the smooth transitions. And that, you want to be able to do that to turn it into drafting so that the shop can replicate what it is you want. So that's the arc-to-arc tangents. It's really important. You don't use it on every show, but when you need it, there's nothing else to do the job but knowing the arc-to-arc tangents. So something to make sure that you know and that you remember, because it will come in handy.